Let's go over the skills you need section for Unit 5, organizing activities for yourself and others. So this is all about using Google Classroom and Google Keep and Google Tasks to organize things that you might have going on in your classroom. I'm going to focus on the creating a new calendar, sharing a Google Calendar, and creating Google Calendar events section. So I have Google Calendar open, and by default it has your account's Google Calendar, and over here, you know what? Let's increase the size here, and any other calendars that you may have created in the past or that have been created for you by Google Classroom. So every Google Classroom class that you create will have a class calendar associated with it. So let's say I wanted to only view things associated with Google Classroom, the Google Classroom a la carte course. I could click Display This Only, click Month, and I'd see that there are events associated with that course on Monday, June 15th and Tuesday, June 16th. And that makes sense because we tried to make all of the assignments happen on Monday and Tuesday, so you'd have Wednesday to work on your final project. And here we could also pull up some of the remote learning and online instruction courses. You'll see that there are assignments due on June 30th. Those are your final project. That's your final project assignment. But let's say the point is you wanted to create a new Google Calendar. To do that, you go down to Other Calendars, click on the plus button, click Create New Calendar, and then you have to give it a name. So we'll call it Skills You Need. And that's it. Give it a title, give it a description, set a time zone, and create that calendar. And I'd click Configure and just go in and scroll through the permissions. One of the things you might consider is whether or not you want the public to be able to see it, or just members of the Sullivan County School District, or if you just want specific people to see it. So you can hide this or completely uncheck it, and then you could share this calendar with just specific people. So let's say you're running a club at the school and you wanted to create a shared calendar for that club so you could organize meetings and events. You'd either do that kind of thing in Google Classroom and have that calendar created automatically, or you could just use Google Calendar specifically, and you can go through and configure those settings. So one thing I'll say with the access permissions is if this is a Google Class calendar and you go in and make that available to the public, you could potentially share that calendar with parents on your school website, so they could go in and see any assignment you had posted in Google Calendar or in that Google Calendar on your website, which would be handy. But let's say you don't go into these settings right away and you're viewing your calendar and you realize, you know what, I would really like to change the sharing settings. You can find your calendar here, and actually let's create a link for it. We're going to create a calendar event. And here in this dropdown is the section where you decide what calendar it goes to. I have a bunch of them. Skills You Need. I'll save that there. And now I want to change the sharing settings that I used before. So I find the calendar in my calendars list, click on the Options button, click on Settings and Sharing, and now it takes me back to that section that we had available to us before. So those are the options for creating and sharing calendars. And also we went over how to create an event in that calendar. Before we finish up, I showed you how you could create an event by dragging within a date. And you can also do that if you have the day open. You can go through and select that time specifically, or you can always click the plus create button and then fill out the information. If you want detailed options, you can go in here. That's where you can add in Google Meet conferencing, add a live stream, share documents, and that sort of thing.